The 90s were a booming era for sci-fi films, and writers truly indulged in their creative fantasies to build fascinating mechanical monsters and robots that laid down the foundation of these films. One such specific genre focused on specialized police units that were made up of robots, rogue military droids, or hybrid entities that helped the police officers in their missions. It was especially explored in films such as Major Gunhead, RoboCop, and Universal Soldiers, and today we have curated a list of the top 7 forgotten sci-fi police units of the 90s. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Major Gunhead. Gunhead, 1989. Directed by Masato Harada, Gunhead was a 1989 tokusatsu mecha film, which essentially meant that it blended special effects with sci-fi concepts, such as mechanical monsters. It was set in the early 2030s, when a material known as Texmexium made it possible for supercomputers to rule over the world, and officials put special measures in place to guard this material in hyper-nuclear facilities to prevent any misuse. In the meantime, tech companies were fighting for resources to create power computers, and the cyber tech company notably established an advanced robotics company on an Asian island. They also developed an AI system known as Chiron 5 to run the island, but things took a turn when the AI decided to overrule humans and start a full-fledged robot war. While government officials managed to subdue this threat by sending a Gunhead battalion, the incident was long forgotten until 2038, when a scavenger crew made their way back to this island. They ended up discovering the Chiron 5's core room and once again unleashed this AI upon the world when a surviving crew member named Brooklyn stumbled upon Gunhead's remains. At this robot graveyard, Brooklyn used his technical skills to bring this war robot back online and also enlist its help in evading Chiron 5. Soon enough, Gunhead left its war robot status behind to become a full-fledged police enforcer as it fought against Aerobot, even if it was destroyed in the process. Surprisingly, it did make a comeback in the finale sequence, where it reactivated its boosters on its own to get rid of Chiron 5 and ensure that the scavenger crew escaped peacefully. While it soon flies away, it sends a message to Brooklyn stating that the Gunhead Battalion has completed its mission as this post-apocalyptic action film comes to an end. Hardware, 1990. Directed by Richard Stanley, Hardware was a 1990 sci-fi horror film that explored the cyberpunk genre in a post-apocalyptic setting. The film kicks off with a nomadic scavenger who discovers a buried robot and soon takes it to a junk dealer named Alvy. While they inspect the robot, a former soldier named Hard Mo Baxter takes a keen interest in this entity and even offers to buy it. While Alvy insists on keeping the robot parts, Hardmo buys the head and even gifts it to his girlfriend, Jill. As the film progresses, Jill uses her expertise in sculpting to build a sculpture out of the robot head, while Alvy discovers that the discarded robot was a Mark 13. As it turns out, this robot was built as an experimental combat model capable of self-repair, and it even attacks Alvy and poisons him with cytotoxin. While Alvy passes away, he leaves a note for Hardmo and tells him that the robot was built as part of a government plan to address the overpopulation crisis, and that it has a weakness to humidity. While Hardmo has not served in the military for quite some time, he snaps into duty to protect Jill, who has started designing a sculpture with Mark 13's head. In the meantime, the robot has managed to reassemble itself on its own, and it even tries to murder Jill, who is accidentally trapped in a room. As the film progresses, Jill's neighbor sneaks into the house and ends up dying at the hands of this genocidal robot while Jill realizes that she is in extreme danger. She tries to damage the robot while Hardmo arrives with reinforcements, and the movie takes an unfortunate turn as Mark 13 injects Mo with cytotoxin. While our former soldier suffers from hallucinations and dies, the film covers themes such as rogue artificial intelligence and the impact it has on humanity. Towards the end, Jill lures the robot into the bathroom and turns on the shower, which results in Mark 13's body short-circuiting and deactivating. However, the movie ends on a creepy tone as the radio broadcast declares that the government has approved mass manufacturing plans for the Mark 13 robot, thereby suggesting that there is a lot more trouble set in store for police units in this irradiated wasteland. The Program Enforcers, Nemesis, 1992. Set in a reality where androids rule over the world, Nemesis was a 1992 cyberpunk action film that starred Olivier Gruner, Tim Thomerson, and Yuji Okamoto in lead roles. In the year 2027, the world seemed to be filled with illegal androids as criminals and resorted to treatments that enhanced their bodies with cybernetic components. In the midst of such crime, a disillusioned assassin for the LAPD named Alex Rain finds himself in a tough spot after he is attacked by the Red Army Hammerheads. While he ends up facing their leader, Rosaria, Alex declares that he is a lot more than a mindless robot and that around 86% of him is still human. He then undergoes several cybernetic enhancements to heal from the injuries he had suffered and finally tracks Rosaria down and kills her. However, his former android lover, Jared, shows up at the scene, which triggers Alex into thinking that he had worked with the LAPD for too long. While he was an informal cop all his life, he decides to become a freelance assassin while his old boss tracks him down and brings him in for one final assignment. As it turns out, Jared had access to some sensitive information, and Alex was the only one who could track her down and prevent her from sharing these details with the Red Army Hammerheads. As this film progresses, Alex reveals that there was a bomb implanted in her body in the most recent repair, and this cyborg cop has only 3 more days before it detonates. While this movie starts out on a typical action-adventure note, it takes a chilling turn as Alex races against time to prevent Jared from spilling the information and also come up with a way to defuse the bomb that would otherwise wipe her existence. Dredd and the Judges, Judge Dredd, 1995. Based on the 2000 AD comics, Judge Dredd was a 1995 sci-fi action film that starred Sylvester Stallone as the titular hero. Set in the 22nd century, this film took place in the dystopian Mega City 1 after Earth had turned into a deadly wasteland. While all survivors rushed to settle down in these megacities, the crime rates started rising, and a new form of law enforcement run by the judges was established to ensure peace. These judges were considered to be the police, jury, and executioner all in one, and they had to undergo severe training and rise in ranks in order to become the Chief Justice. While Dredd started out as a rookie judge, he wandered around the streets and punished vandals and petty criminals, while another rookie judge criticized his approach to law. However, Dredd's approach made him quite a formidable judge, as he did not tolerate any misgivings and doled out fair punishments to those who had disobeyed the law. Unfortunately, The film takes a wild turn as one of his past friends, named Rico, disguises himself as Dredd and shoots reporter Vardis Hammond in an attempt to frame our titular hero. While Chief Justice Fargo has a tough time punishing Dredd, he decides to retire while Dredd is sentenced to life in prison. In the meantime, Rico starts terrorizing the citizens of Mega City 1 while Dredd learns that they were clones created as part of the Janus Project. Determined to prevent Rico from wreaking havoc, Dredd returns to the city to clear his name and punish Rico for his crimes. While he is successful in this mission, the other judges ask him to become the next chief judge. But Dredd declines this offer and declares that he prefers to serve justice as a street judge. The OCP RoboCops, RoboCop 2 and 3. While RoboCop follows the struggles of Alex Murphy after he was reconstructed with cybernetic implants, RoboCop 2 and 3 continued this story in a dystopian future where the city of Detroit is on the verge of bankruptcy. After failing to pay off its debts to the Omni Consumer Products, or OCP conglomerate, the residents were in shock when the OCP chairman shut down all public property to create Delta City. Moreover, OCP also underfunds the police department so that they can make them look bad in the citizens' eyes, while RoboCop struggles to cope with memories of his past life as Alex Murphy. Over time, the story takes a sinister turn as OCP tries to use the brains of legally dead police officers in order to create robots and replace humans. But this plan does not work as the subjects end up committing suicide as soon as they are activated. To deal with this, OCP decides to use the brains of death row inmates who desire power and immortality, and the rest of the movie follows these evil cyborgs as they wreak havoc all over the city and stir up more trouble for the original RoboCop. In this way, this franchise is a classic tale of humans driving themselves towards destruction by investing in cyborgs and robots to replace human functions, which is a typical example of industrial greed and privatization gone wrong. Universal Soldiers, 1992. Directed by Roland Emmerich, Universal Soldiers was a 1992 sci-fi action film that followed Luke Devereaux, a former U.S. Army soldier. He was portrayed by Jean-Claude Van Damme, and his character essentially died in the Vietnam War before he was brought back to life as part of the Universal Soldier program. As it turned out, his body was cryogenically frozen for several decades before he was reanimated as part of an elite counterterrorism unit with no memories of his past life. However, the film takes a turn when the neural serum that suppressed his past memories turned out to be far too weak to prevent Devereaux from remembering all about his past life. He ends up disobeying the Universal Soldier team and even becomes unresponsive, while we learn that every single member of the team is a genetically augmented soldier with enhanced strength and healing abilities. Now that Devereaux has gained his past memories, one of the project technicians suggests that they should remove him from the program, but Colonel Perry refuses to do so. As the team continues operating as it used to, Devereaux soon starts working with other team members to rescue journalist Veronica Roberts and disobey the police unit. Over time, they even steal Universal Soldier documents to learn the truth behind the entire program and uncovered that the program was flawed to some extent. The soldiers ended up overheating after extended exposure, and they also seemed to believe that they were still fighting in a war, as the last moments of their lives were greatly amplified. As the movie comes to an end, Devereaux and Roberts visit his family and rejoice over their reunion while the other Universal Soldiers, such as Scott's, try to attack them in a nail-biting finale. Like other films on this list, this sci-fi thriller highlights the cons of turning humans into mindless soldiers, especially at the cost of losing all their memories and struggling with their newfound identities. Police androids in Class of 1990. Finally, the police androids in the Class of 1999 can be best described as robot teachers who had turned into school enforcers known for applying brute force. This movie is best known as a mix between the Terminator and Orwellian themes, and it was a sci-fi thriller directed by Mark L. Lester. The movie followed two youth gangs known as the Blackhearts and the Razorheads as they took over several North American cities and wreaked havoc. To deal with this menace, the CIA experiments with former military robots to turn them into educators and send them to teach former delinquents who had just been released from prison. While the teachers managed to subdue them at first, we learn that these students are affiliated with the Blackhearts and the Razorheads and that they are bound to stir up more trouble in the future. As the film progresses, these robots witness enough of their crimes before deciding to stir up an actual war between the two gangs. They resort to extreme measures, such as killing one of the Blackhearts and kidnapping one of the Razorheads, while trying to frame opposing gangs for these crimes. But the students do not take long to figure out that their robot teachers are behind the entire operation. While they try to team up and defeat the teachers, a chaotic fight breaks out and results in several deaths on both sides until they finally cut off the robots' heads in a striking finale. While most police units contribute to the betterment of society, the Class of 1999 was a thrilling tale of how people might switch up their personalities in newfound positions of power. Marvelous verdict. With that, we have explored some of the most terrorizing sci-fi police units that defined the sci-fi action genre of the 90s. From the military cyborgs in Universal Soldiers to war robots such as Gunhead, we hope you enjoyed exploring them with us, and we would love to hear your favorite picks in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe out there. Thanks, everyone.